Are you ready for a $20 billion shakeup in critical mineral supply chains? What about the potential for sweeping new US tariffs on Vietnam? Or new proposal to finally bypass the World Trade Organization's paralyzing gridlock? Welcome to This Week in Trade. I'm your host, George Riddell, and in the next 5 minutes, we're cutting through the noise to bring you the most critical international trade developments of the week, and more importantly, exactly what they mean for your business's bottom line.
Welcome to This Week in Trade, bringing you a quick roundup of the latest international trade news and analysis from Goidel Limited's director, George Riddell, and the Geneva Trade Platform.
We start in the Indo-Pacific, where the race for supply chain security just got a significant financial injection. At a recent meeting in New Delhi, the Quad nations, the US, Australia, India, and Japan, signed a new Critical Minerals Initiative framework. The headline here is money. The partners intend to mobilize up to $20 billion in combined government and private sector financing. This capital is directed squarely at mining, processing, and recycling projects that have a Quad nexus. If your company is in tech, automotive, or renewable energy, this is a potential opportunity. The framework plans to use export credits, development finance, loans, and offtake arrangements to fund these projects. But you also need to prepare for tighter oversight. The Quad is aiming to coordinate national security screenings of critical mineral transactions and share information on permitting best practices. Securing your supply chain just became easier to fund but potentially harder to navigate without strict compliance. Moving to the United States, we have two major stories that could significantly impact duty payments and sourcing strategies. First, the Trump administration has announced it will appeal a federal judge's order regarding tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA. The Justice Department is heading to the U.S. Court of International Trade to appeal Judge Eaton's ruling, which would have allowed all companies that paid these tariffs to seek refunds, rather than just the companies that actively filed lawsuits. If your business paid IEEPA tariffs but didn't litigate, keep a very close eye on this appeal. You may still be entitled to a refund, but it's not guaranteed. Also in the US Trade Representative Greer has officially initiated a Section 301 investigation into Vietnam. The investigation focuses on whether Vietnam's failure to resolve long-standing intellectual property protection issues is restricting US commerce. This Section 301 investigation means your China Plus One strategy might now be in the crosshairs. If you source from Vietnam, you need to conduct a risk assessment on potential incoming tariffs immediately. You have until the 3rd of July this year to submit public comments to USTR on the investigation. Shifting to the global stage, discussions on WTO reform continue. First, Congo has circulated a draft proposal to the General Council to create an ad hoc working group on WTO reform, aiming to ensure an inclusive, consensus-based process that keeps modernization tied to development. Separately, and more significantly, Argentina has circulated a proposal called Perspectives on WTO Reform, which targets the WTO's notoriously slow consensus requirement. Argentina is proposing a mechanism to incorporate plurilateral agreements into the Marrakesh Agreement, which established the WTO, without allowing a single dissenting member to block them, as has been the case on many existing plurilaterals. Instead of just saying no, an objective nation would have to submit a written objection demonstrating a vital national interest. To pass, these agreements would need support from about 2/3 of the WTO membership, or 60% of the relevant trade market, while keeping accession open to all members. For global businesses, WTO's traditional consensus rule has historically meant that one country can block new, modern trade agreements. As Argentina's proposal shows, WTO members are increasingly looking at ways to create a fast lane for plurilateral agreements by raising the bar for objections. Companies relying on modern international trade frameworks should watch this closely, as it might finally unblock new global rules to impact cross-border operations. Turning to Europe, the geopolitical temperature continues to rise. On the 29th of May, the European Commission's College of Commissioners held a debate warning that the current trade and investment relationship with China is unsustainable due to Chinese industrial overcapacity. They have officially tasked the DG for Trade with developing new, more assertive and effective trade defense policy towards Beijing. While countries like Germany have traditionally resisted a confrontational approach due to market exposure, a bloc backed by France, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands is pushing hard for this defensive strategy. European importers of Chinese industrial goods should brace for stricter trade remedies and potential new duties in the coming months. Finally, some much needed good news for agri-food businesses operating across the English Channel. The UK government has published updated guidance on a planned UK-EU sanitary and phytosanitary agreement. Once this agreement is implemented, most agri-food products moving between Great Britain, Northern Ireland and the EU will no longer require export health certificates, phytosanitary certificates or SPS border checks. In exchange, the UK will dynamically align with relevant EU SPS rules. However, temper your immediate expectations. The government is targeting implementation for mid-2027, and formal negotiations with the EU are still ongoing. That's us from This Week in Trade. Thank you and see you next week.
Those are the headlines from This Week in Trade. To go deeper, check out more comprehensive breakdown of these and other developments on Georgia's LinkedIn. This is a new series we'll be looking to evolve and expand based on your feedback, refining what we're presenting, and adding new voices. Let us know in the comments below and via the contact form on GTP's website how we can make this a more relevant and useful accompaniment to your coffee.